Hello, faithful. Welcome to the first episode of the 49ers Breakdown Room, where we have open conversations about the games to come or the game that just happened. And today we're going to recap what happened in the Falcons game. Overall, we had a great defense. Will rose to the challenge. I'd say we held one of the most productive offenses to, I think it was 10 points. I got to check. 10 points. The offense still moving. A lot of dinking and dunking. The run game looked way better though. Shanahan is on one again. We had our starting center go down and our backup came in, which has been a very divisive topic, and I think that's where we're going to start today. So, in the beginning of the game, we had our starting center. In the beginning of the game, we had our starting center Jake Brindle go down. His backup Matt Hennessy came in, and a lot of the discourse around the game that I've been seeing is around, oh, did Brindle do well? Did Hennessy do better than Brindle? And just comparing the two. And Brindle's been catching a lot of flack for years. I can't remember how many years, but it's just been a while since it's been a while he's been catching flack for his play. And I personally thought I've been away from the majority recently on the Jake Brindle thing, but I think he's been having a better year than he has in the past. Like he's just been playing better. Like it's not perfect, obviously. I had him labeled as a flawed starter in my like tier system, and I think I think his bad plays get blown up a lot, but he doesn't get credit for the good plays. I understand it's a merit based league, but I think it's unfair to try to critique a player purely off the bad just because you are biased against them. And I'm not here to defend anyone who's just putting out bad product for the team because at the end of the day, I want 22 all pro players on my team hammering everyone down for 90 points a game. But I say all that to say this: the difference between Brindle and Hennessy was very negligible, I'd say. Like there's obvious technical differences. I can't really show them here because football film, YouTube is a weird situation. But to sum it up, Hennessy plays a lot like Brindle, but the things he's better at are finishing his blocks. Because Brindle catches a lot of flack, especially on screens where he just lets up before the play is done. Hennessy doesn't have that problem. He's actually very good at finishing his blocks, but I think my biggest problem with him is his leverage. I'm not sure if he played tackle before. I remember seeing the depth chart. I think he was at tackle, backup tackle with Charlie Heck last year. I don't know. It's we throw dudes around all the time on the depth chart. But point being, the leverage is not good, and it does affect the run blocking a lot. Now we do have Colby and Pooney in, and they have better leverage. They also have their own leverage inconsistencies. Pooney's hurt. Colby's a very late round rookie. So they have their own issues. But overall, I'd say those two were helping Hennessy a lot. And the conclusion a lot of people came to about it was that because we had arguably our best game rushing when Brindle went down, that means Hennessy must have been the reason. And I'd beg to differ that, not to put it as if you actually watched, but to say that if you had seen and just one to one, just look at what's happening, the issues weren't Brindle. I'd argue the issues were the tight ends and the tackle play. Because McKivitz and Trent, they played a great game. And part of it definitely is that they're backup, one of their edges, because they have like a three edge rotation with Walker, Pearson, our old edge, Leonard Floyd. Walker was out, so they were kind of thin there. And we definitely took advantage of it. We ran a lot of power. We ran a lot of pin and pull, with tosses from under center. I think we did one out of gun too. I can't remember, but a lot of pin and pull, power, counter, and we did some long traps too. On the goal, one of our touchdowns was on a long trap. Someone that brought to my attention. So we played a lot off the edges because that was their main weakness, along with their linebacker Devon Diablo going down. Hoping he's okay. But back to the main point. I'd like to say Hennessy. He's just another variant of Brindle, I'd say. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Brindle either, to be honest. I do want better center play. I understand that there's a shortage per se in the league for good old line talent, but I am one who prioritizes trench play, offense and defense first. I've always let's just put it this way. I think football starts there, starts and ends there. They set the floor of the team. They also can dictate how high the ceiling can go, and I just want better play there in the interior line. My roommates. All right. Moving on. Michael. That was another one. On social media in general, football, Twitter, whatever, however you want to put it, there's been a lot of discourse about Michael on his status as a bust or not. And I had a video planned. I was working on it for like 3, 4 weeks on Michael. The notes are still public on my server, but with some of them. But essentially, I Michael's doing good. We drafted him to stop the run, and he had a lot of tools and traits to become a great pass rusher. And he's developing faster than I thought he would be. I don't know where everyone's average. He's gonna do this by this time, but I think he's developing fine, way faster than I thought. I thought the first year would be a struggle. He'd be purely early down, but he's working some moves. He's learning how to bull rush. He's learning the leg drive part more than the. So when you're in a speed to power bull rush situation, you're coming in. There's the pop part, like you're coming in, thumbs up into the breastplate, whatever. And then the second part is the drive, where you're like digging them out with the leg drive. You're using your leverage to just like like a bull. You're walking them back, basically trying to break their anchor if they have anchored. And I think Michael's leverage, because he's a taller guy, he's like 6'4", 6'5", and he's bigger, so he has huge legs, so he has a lot of power there, but he has to work on his leverage to where he can match a tackle who can get lower than him. So he has to work on his leverage to be lower than a tackle so he can drive him back. And he showed that well. He went up against, I forgot his first name. I know he's a great tackle. Last name Matthews. I think it's Jake Matthews. I don't want to butcher it, but Jake Matthews, who's a great tackle, in my opinion. I think he's like among the top 15 tackles in the league. He had some great reps against him. I think there's definitely room for improvement as always. He can always be more savvy. He can always win faster. Like his wins are rarely quick unless he's stunting inside. So that's one downside to his game, I'd say. Like it's not like his wins are taking 5 seconds, but he's not getting quick wins ever. And he's working his hands in a certain way, which I do like. He's trying to develop swipe moves, chop moves, and dips, which I think will suit him well if he works on his flexibility and learns how to bend better. And to the main point, he's developing. That's what matters. We drafted him to be this, and we want him to be this eventually. And he's in the middle region. He's becoming what we want him to be, and he's doing it fast. He's doing it well. And with Bosa down and Huff also down now, we're gonna need even more of him, way more than we asked. And I think we should be grateful that his name isn't said as much. Because if his name was said more, it would definitely be for negative reasons. Like he's on the field making an impact, even though it doesn't show up on the box score. And I love that personally because I was a big fan of Mike Hill in the draft process. I'm glad we grabbed him. I didn't think we'd be able to get him. I thought the Saints would take him, but I'm glad we got him. And he's been a very valuable piece of this defense. The way we use him is similar to how he was used in college. We have this new addition, Luke Gifford, who is a prototypical Sam linebacker, play on the line of scrimmage, can play off. He's there to play over tight ends, play in the run, uh, uh, small coverage assignments basically. He's there as a mini chess piece. And a lot of times he's playing next to Mike Hill. And what that does is it kicks Mike Hill inside to where he's playing off the guard now in a 4-eye technique. Sometimes I catch him in a 3, but it's rare. And that's if it's like a goal line or we got to stop the run where everyone's jumbled up on the line of scrimmage trying to stop a tush push or something. But Mike Hill's playing inside well. in rundowns and outside well. He has great extension. He's working on his stab and fork moves. One arm basically. To sum it up, just using one arm at a time. Oh, reverse camera. Uh, and his technique has been good. Again, the leverage. I'm big on leverage. Leverage is one of the first things I noticed. It can be better. I understand he's a taller guy, so it's gonna take a bit longer than you think it would, but he's working on it. The one thing I can say that everyone should be able to agree on is that he's improving. Every time there's an issue with his game, like in a game he makes a mistake. There's obviously issues with his game as a prospect. That's why we drafted him. But if he makes a mistake within a game, he does something poorly. He doesn't repeat the mistakes the next game. Maybe he'll repeat it again because he's a younger guy and his self awareness for mistakes may not be as top tier as a lot of veterans like Fred Warner's could be. But you go to the next game, he's not making the same mistake again. He's learning game by game, and that's a great thing to do. And the uh, hard part about presenting that argument is the box score rules all, as I always say. If he's not getting sacks or if he's not getting TFLs, people are gonna call him bad regardless, which is how it is. But I know what we got, and that's what matters. So moving on, we have this one I've been trying to avoid in general. Mac Jones, Purdy. To keep it short, who do I think is better? Purdy. By how much? A sizable amount. Like Purdy here, Mac like here. Like not to discount Mac, but he was brought on as a reclamation project, kind of like Sam Darnold, to be a backup, and he's doing well. I love Mac Jones now. He's got a new fan. He loves being a Niner. He loves being here. He loves playing for us. He loves getting the wins. But he also understands he's a backup and he has the humility to remind himself and everyone else that he's still the backup and he's just holding on till Purdy, who he's good friends with, comes back and plays well because he's dealing with I don't say major, but it's a lingering injury. So he's gonna be in for a while, and I think he was just confirmed to be playing Week 8 for the Texans, which is something that'll come up in the preview episode. But um, back to the point, Mac Jones, Purdy better. Why? To keep it short again, I think Purdy does certain things that matter more. Mac Jones is I don't want to say check down merchant because that would be really just a lazy take to make. But what he moves off of his reads fast, and he also just I want to say skips reads, but he looks to the flats and to the check downs really fast, and he also does not push the ball downfield. Like I understand you can pass on stuff because you don't love it. You may like it, but you don't love it. So I understand passing on it sometimes because every quarterback passes on stuff routes they don't love sometimes. But he passes on it a lot. And when he does try it, I question the decision sometimes. Like sometimes he'll try it, I don't know. And I do appreciate it to an extent because he's keeping the ball safe. But the problem is that it's hard to advance as an offense without explosives. And when you're throwing it that short, your explosives are relying on making people miss. And you can't always guarantee people are gonna miss when you have your third string, fourth string wide receivers catching the balls. Because CMC is not always in the game. When B Rob's in the game, he's throwing the check downs to other people because the check downs are made for other people. Because B Rob isn't a pass catching back. He's more of our switch up for when we need to give CMC his load management. So when we're getting those backup tight ends that aren't Tonjes, who was balling for my fantasy team, we get those backup tight ends or those backup receivers who are playing in line. They're not going to make people miss as much. And you can see that in the offense. The offense is more consistent, but it's lesser than what it could be. And a topic that's somewhat related is the interception turnover discussion with Purdy. I think a lot of it is very bad faith. I think we're just staring at the box score and just make that our whole thought process. I don't think that's the way to go about it. I think we should see why he's throwing the picks, what's leading up to it, and what the picks are causing. Because when I did that, personally, I did it in the off season because it's my quarterback. I watched the team. A lot of them weren't on Purdy, which is odd to say. He's the one with the stat sheet that says one, two, three interceptions. But oddly, a lot of them aren't on Purdy, and I wouldn't blame them on the receivers either. A lot of it's just play calling. He's trying to force the ball, and to an extent, that's on him. But last year, when you're in the situation you're in, I can't name a single quarterback outside of Josh Allen, who used to have that problem. It used to be a big problem of his, and Lamar, who doesn't force the ball when things get tough. I mean, you need to play. Your quarterback's gonna try to get it to their best guy, and when the best guy doesn't make the play, somebody's gonna make the play. A lot of times it ends up being the defense because our best guy wasn't the intended best guy. Sometimes we've been missing Ayuk for I think 15, 16 games now. JJ's been in and out, and he's been hurt the whole time for the last 2 years. Even the Super Bowl year, he was dinged up. Ricky, he got shot, so that was. Then he has this oblique injury he's out for, so a lot of times the number ones just aren't there, and it's more the same this year. I went through his four picks. The Jags game picks, I don't even. Those were some of the most bad luck picks I've ever seen. Plus, he was playing hurt, so I don't want to say it's a complete wash, but like, if the picks are bad luck and dude's playing hurt, I mean, picks bad, dude's playing hurt. I don't. It's not something I'm gonna write home about as if, he's such an issue. Turnovers, man. And as for the Seahawks game, one of them I'd say were on him. Other one, you could sell me on one, you can't sell me on both. And I say all that to say, Purdy's fine. He's not regressing. Same Purdy from the Super Bowl year. Same rookie year undefeated Purdy. Same quarterback. Looks the same mechanically. Making the same stuff. It's just the team is a couple steps lower. And when the team's a couple steps lower, people's mistakes start to shine. He wasn't the only one who had mistakes getting lit up. Trent had some mistakes being lit up too when Kittle was gone, because Kittle carries a lot of the load. When CMC went down, Trent also looked even worse because he carries a lot of the load in the pass protection game. CMC's a great pass protector. He helps Trent out a lot, and everyone helps Trent out a lot. But he's still a great player. But everyone needs help on the field because it's a 11-man game. So you have all these pieces down. Your guys are gonna look worse, and I don't think it's fair to say Purdy's regressing. Purdy's not this anymore. It's the same. It's the same quarterback still. And I think Mac Jones is really showing. Brett Coleman said he's been getting somewhat blasted on Twitter for it. He said that Mac Jones will reveal what Purdy was hiding. And I think people took that the wrong way as if Mac's gonna come in looking terrible. Brett, that's not what Brett meant. He he had related to me, had said, not me personally, I'm not gonna pretend I know the guy personally, but he had said in, I think it was one of his podcast episodes, what he meant was he's gonna show how poor the O line is. Because the O line has looked worse without Purdy. The O line does look worse. We're calling way more quick games than we're used to. And Mac's been getting hit a lot. Like one of those games, he left looking like he had just gone through a shredder because how many times he got hit. His entire uniform was just cut, torn, grass everywhere. His pants were sagging because he got hit so many times. His belt was gone apparently. Like he's been getting beat up, and Mac even admitted it himself. He's getting beat up. And one of Purdy's greatest skills that don't get talked about at in-depth level is his ability to create out of space and create out of structure. He's a great runner. Like he's not a Lamar, he's not a Josh Allen, he's not even a Baker. I think he's his not his own thing, but I think he does good enough to create when something needs to be created. He gets the ball out. He knows when to throw it away. And he can extend the play for 10 more seconds. He's done it many times. He'll extend the play till somebody comes open. He's had his Mahomes moments with just running around for forever just to run 5 yards and slide. I mean, it's what comes with receiver injuries. The receivers aren't it. Some you got to create a little bit, and that really showed in the 2024 season. And the discourse is it started off as toxic because Purdy had always been a divisive person to talk about. He's always been controversial. Seventh round pick, starting quarterback to the Super Bowl. People didn't like it. People have always had bad faith takes either for or against him. The Purdy stands aren't giving good arguments for him. They're not giving good faith arguments. The Purdy detractors aren't either. So it's just two butting heads. People just fighting, and it's just not good. I think we should all be able to just see things for how they actually are instead of taking things at such a surface level, because it's not a surface level sport. Nothing is ever surface level in the sport. I don't think it's fair to anyone, especially the players who do see what you guys who do see what this social media heads say. It's been documented many times that they see what the social media heads say, and I don't think it's fair to try to discredit them for things that aren't their fault, basically. And moving on, I think our defense definitely stepped up. Warner, Bosa out. We had Bethune. We had Bethune in for Warner, who even Bethune stepped out a little bit. Robinson that came in, number 59. He came in a little bit, but it wasn't anything major. I think he had just hurt his. I think he lost his wind or something. I don't know. But he left, came back. Bethune did good. I think his greatest ability is his ability to read and diagnose in the run. It showed a lot in the tape. I'll have it posted in my server if anyone wants to see for themselves, because I can't post it here. Um, he can diagnose the run well. He folds back well. I think he gets the front and linebacker level. The DBs, they had some communication errors for sure. A couple people playing the same zones. I think a couple plays I saw, and some people they're just back in. They're communicating later than they normally would when Fred's there, because Fred would be on the field going screaming at everybody, even the people he can't see behind him, because he knows that's his job to communicate. He's the great communicator on defense. He's getting 10 people aligned while he's getting himself aligned. That's what he does. But with Bethune, he's only getting 6, 7 people aligned. I did the thing. He's getting only the people he can see aligned because he doesn't know the defense that well. And that's not a shot at him in any way. He's just it's not his job to know that. Fred's going up way above and beyond being able to do that. But Bethune did a great job. I think he's a great linebacker. I always thought he has, and I wasn't worried when Fred went down in terms of linebacker play. What I was worried about was the communication. The Bucks game, it was very bad. The second Fred went down, the communication was horrible. This game, it was I won't even call it passable, but it was better, way better. I want to give it a passing grade, but it was better, and that's what matters. Because if we can just keep stacking little wins like that and improving just a little bit and all the stuff, you get a great team eventually. And the way this team fights, the way it's so gritty, the way it claws from the jaws of defeat all the time, you can win a lot of games if you just keep getting small improvements in every little section of the team. And we didn't have that before, and we have it now. And people are and our players are confused in the interviews. They keep saying, "I don't know how we're winning," and I think some of them have said it's grit, and I would definitely agree with that. Juice said it was grit. I agree with that. It's just how much we put into the game, and the game just comes out the way we want it to, because they put in so much effort, and that's how football works. The one who wants it the most wins all the time. That's how it works. If you want it more, you're gonna win it more, and that's how our defense has definitely looked all year. As for the pass rush, Huff has been looking great. He's been he's been working well as a matchup hunter, not in a negative way, like how some people call lesser pass rushers a matchup hunter to say they're not as good against better talent. But Huff is doing it in a strategic way to take advantage of maybe a backup in like the Atlanta backup. Their right tackle was out, so they had a backup in. And on third downs, you saw Huff. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. You had Huff and just taking advantage, and it drew a lot of attention, and it was great for the team. It drew chips. So I think he had a triple chip one time, but a lot of times he's just occupying the running back, keeping him in protection, or occupying the tight end. That helps the coverage out a lot when you're not getting a free release off the line of scrimmage because you got to help out your backup tackle. And even then, he was still winning. He was hitting Penix a lot. He unfortunately hurt Penix too, which we'd never want to see. But that's what happens. You keep hitting the quarterback. He did his job, and unfortunately, Huff got hurt too, and he's going to be out for 2, 3, 4 weeks, along with Green, Bernardo Green, our corner. So we're down Bosa, we're down Huff, and we're down our. I forgot the guy's name. He was a great pass rusher for the Bears a couple years ago. He was our depth piece. He got hurt too in the game apparently, so he's out. So we're down to and YGM is out too. So we're down to Okuwanu and Michael. Those are the only edges I can think of that are still rostered on the team and healthy, like playable healthy. And as the Niners still shop, they've been shopping for a couple weeks as they still shop for an edge. If they don't get something by Wednesday, tomorrow, then I think I think there's going to be some serious issues on the edge. As for the back end of the defense, I think we're doing well. A lot of things. There's a couple things I've been disagreeing with. Like we call a lot of man coverage, even though we call a lot of two. We call a lot of man coverage. A lot of those man coverage calls come off of blitzes, so we're sending five and keeping six in coverage, one deep defender and five dudes in man. And the thing I've been disagreeing with is that our outside corners, who are outside the numbers a lot of times, have been playing outside leverage in those situations, which is kind of counterintuitive because the sidelines here. Oh, it's going to be reversed. Let me try this. Sidelines here. You have your receiver here. You have the corner right above him. So just pretend the sidelines here. I'm going to move my hand. Sideline is right here. Edge of the screen. Sideline. You're going to have your receiver in the corner. He's playing outside of here. So he has like a free release inside. Oh, free release inside. So he's getting all the slants and the end breakers and the digs. And it's been killing us because that's how the Falcons attacked us like that. Hot in those situations. They used Pitts and it was London. Pitts in London. They got a couple catches on us that way. And I personally wasn't happy about it. Uh I don't agree with it because normally in those situations you're playing inside leverage. I don't know why we're playing outside leverage. I'm not Robert Saleh. I don't know more than him. I'm not gonna pretend I do, but I just personally disagree with it. So I would voice that. Another thing is that our coverage rotations have been a little predictable in certain situations. Like teams have been able to dictate what coverage rotations we do call than attacking us. The Falcons were doing that a lot with a lot of formation and boundary formation. So it's basically they have 3 or 4 receivers into the boundary, like close to, like this is sideline again. They have like 3, 4 guys here and one guy out here. And they're just gonna flood this area with receivers. And there's only so many zones, and one of the rotations we were calling was very susceptible to that, and they took advantage of it, and I didn't like it personally. Another thing was when we were in Tampa too. For background, Tampa two, when you motion into trips and the initial call is Tampa two, a lot of teams check out of it. They can check it. The way you check out of it, it can be anything that's not really a standard. It depends on the scheme of the defense. But we haven't been checking out of it, and they got it wasn't an explosive, but they got a free screen on us because we just didn't check out of Tampa two when it came to trips. And I don't really agree with that either. Maybe it was a miscommunication. They were supposed to check out of it, and it never triggered to any of the guys on the field. And if that's the case, that's a separate issue. But overall, I just didn't agree with that. But outside of those three things, I think our defense has been playing well. Whole lots of cover three as always. Whole lots of man coverage. Not too much cover two. Outside of like they're just trying to flood the underneath zone, so on like a third down situation. But even then, we're calling a lot of man coverage on third down. We're getting we're shying away from quarters right now. I think it's because of the safety. inconsistencies we've been having. Our best safety, Mustafa, is just coming back. He's easing again, and we're looking for the second safety. We have some guys lined up who are battling for it, 3 guys battling for it, and this has been a clear cut winner. And all 3 of them are different kinds of safeties who have been having their own issues per se. Sigel's been getting lined up on tight ends, which I've also been disagreeing with. So whenever they're throwing at Sigel, every time it's been on the 3rd down or something like that, and there's a big old tight end guarding them, and Sigel's not big, and he's also a rookie. So you got an athletic tight end just dunking on a rookie all game. Then you have Pinnock who outside of man coverage situations, I don't think his zone awareness is very good. And Jair Brown is a mix of both, I'd say. I think his awareness is kind of. I think his man coverage isn't good enough either. So it's a lot we have to work on. And those are 3 things those are 2 things you need when you're calling a lot of quarters. Because when you're in quarters, you're having your safeties come down and play the run. Or at least one of them are at all times. And if you can't diagnose the zones well or diagnose your run fits well, then you can't call quarters. You can't have safeties flying down into the box. And we call a lot of too high. And if we don't want to stray away from that, we're going to have to figure out something to do or keep certain players off the field, which you don't want to do because you brought them on for a reason. They're depth or they're starters or intended starters. So it's just a big old issue. Um, I think that's all I have to say about the game. Review wise, I think it was a good win. We needed the win. If we walked away with a loss, I want to say the season's over, but I think morale would have gone in the dumps. So I'm glad we got the win out, and it was a satisfying win as well. There was some chatter between the players, a bit of trash talk pregame on social media, so I'm sure they enjoyed winning that, showing it on the field basically. And I think it was just a good win. It was a satisfying thing to watch. I'm glad it was on Sunday Night Football so everybody could see what the Niners are. I'm proud of the team this year. Never that I'm not proud of being a fan of, or never proud of the team, but I was definitely extra proud after the grit they showed on Sunday Night Football for the whole country. And I'm excited to see what we do against the Texans because we have more injuries, more setbacks, but we also have some things to work on. So we'll see how it goes. Uh, this was my first attempt doing this. I'm gonna try to do previews or reviews for every game. So that's in between 2 games, you're gonna get a review of the game, then a preview onto the next game. I'll try to do it like that. Um, any plays I reference will be posted in my server if you want to check take a look if you're not already in it. But if you're watching this, I assume you are. The channels are called Week 7 Review Defense and Week 7 Review Offense. So I separated them by offense and defense. And if you want to see more plays, 'cause I didn't put everything, I didn't put the whole sample size because that'd be a lot of film to download and send and all that. But if you want to see more, just tag me in the server. I'll send more to the server and you can see if you don't have access to the film, which I would never gatekeep. And you can see all the other work I've attempted or currently working on in the server, and you can chat with other people who love football. And this was my first attempt. I bought this camera like this. I bought the camera this morning. I just got home from classes, just ate dinner. Kind of nervous, kind of excited. I think this is something I could keep up. I like talking about my team. I like reviewing it. I don't think there's anybody who does this on a lower level that isn't like a top tier analyst or whatever, like a figurehead, I'd say. So it's nice to get a fan perspective of someone who would say they understand the game to a higher degree than the average fan. Not to say I'm smarter than the average fan in any way, but what I'm saying is I have a lot of people come to me when they have questions about the Niners. And I think doing this twice a week is a good way to have a lot of those universal questions I have get answered. So if you have any questions for the Texans game, forward them to me in the comments or in the server. I'll try to get to them on Thursday or Friday, maybe Saturday. And have a great day. Go Niners.